introduce our next guest?
Yes. I'd like to introduce Ellen Frank. She is the founder and artistic director of Cities of Peace. It's a wonderful project that brings people together in places that have been experiencing conflict to make art together as a way of promoting reconciliation and peace building. And as you'll see in her presentation, because we will see some of these pieces of art, they are museum quality pieces of art that have been produced by some people who've never done, who are certainly not artists. And it's a wonderful project to help bring people together and to promote conflict resolution and reconciliation. Okay, Ellen, go ahead.
And while Ellen is talking, I will also momentarily do screen share. But go ahead, Ellen.
So I want to say, first of all, to all of you, hello, hello, and how lovely both to see the Pollock studio and home, and Pollock and Krasner, and for you also to honor Lee Krasner, and also Fabiana, how great to see your work and listen to the music and hear one of your musicians. So I want to tell everybody that Ani Manana is also on the call. She was one of our very youngest interns, students. She was 17. She's from Armenia, and we will show you the Armenian painting in a few moments. She's now in Bulgaria, so it's wonderful that she can join us. So in brief, Cities of Peace is a collection of monumental gold illuminated paintings created with artists and scholars and students from more than 33 countries. And the goal of the work is one of the principles is we never show violence, we never show war, we never show destruction. We instead honor the beauty and history of the culture so that beauty becomes our doorway to peace. So all these paintings are very large. If we go back one moment to the one just before this is Lhasa, the capital of Tibet. We no longer know if Tibet is a country, a region, what it is. So we honor the city. And just to give you a hint, these hands are true sizes of hands. And the gold leaf, every painting has four characteristics. Everyone has gold, real gold, or silver or palladium, a variety of precious metals. Every painting has a map. Every painting has symbols of the culture, and every piece has a moment of red, of crimson in honor of the dead. So to give you a sense, the hands on this painting are literal handprints of everyone who worked on the painting, from Venezuela, from Estonia, from Poland, from all over the world working on this. And I can talk for an hour on each painting, but we can look at the next. This is, so I'm not sure if one of my Kosovo artists is on the call. This is one of the new works, which is really important. They're all important. Oh, she can jump on the call. Let me just ask her. Just one second, I just got a note. So this is, if she can speak now, this is a painting that honors Pristina, the capital of Kosovo. We were invited to Kosovo in honor of their 10th anniversary as a republic. And the incredible events in this painting is that we sat side by side, a Kosovo Albanian with a Kosovo Serb whose parents murdered each other.
Oh.
And they would say they have no language in common. The Kosovo Serbs weren't speaking Albanian. The Kosovo Albanians didn't speak Serbian. The Kosovo Serbs didn't. But what they did, they would pass a brush to each other, and they sat side by side teaching each other how to do the art of gold leaf. So I want to see if Arev can speak. I hope she can. What we do is we bring one of the students or artists or interns from one city to the next city. So Arev is Armenian, and she came to Kosovo, which is part of the value of this work as cultural diplomacy, sharing cultures. So Arev came and worked with all the artists of Kosovo to create this work. Arev, are you on? I'm not sure where she is, if she can speak up and just say hello. I'm not seeing her at the moment, so let's hope she will speak. And I'm happy to answer questions about any of the work. This is Hiroshima. So I too live in the Hamptons, around the corner from Pollock. I too have had a tiny studio with a paint spattered floor. And from around the world came young artists to work on these pieces. This is actually a map of Hiroshima right before the United States dropped the bomb. And that's important because who is a victim? Who is a perpetrator? Who bombs who? Who does what? And this is about what you're seeing that looks pink, like it's called moon gold, not the flowers, but the abstract shapes are actually the waterways. And the white gold is the land. And this is actually a map from a photograph taken by the US military right before the United States dropped the bomb. But again, the goal of this work is the transformation, and as Fabiana said, healing, the transformation of anguish into beauty. And so here they're standing figures, true scale, traced, and they're neither victims nor angry, they're witnesses. And that's part of what we encourage, holding space, bearing witness for each other. And and then there's one dancing figure in the middle. Cascading across the entire painting is the winter blooming plum blossom, which symbolizes everlasting life. So that's what this one is. They're all about 3 meters by 4 meters on Belgian linen.
Ellen, that was remarkable what you said about transformation. And as I'm looking at this artwork, I see it in an abstract way as well. And I see the gestures, which although it's completely different than Pollock, it has a similarity in that it could look like you're looking at an aerial view, or then you could see it as sort of frontal and standing up. And Pollock's face also does that as well in his paintings. So I'm seeing a connection between your painting, Fabiana, and Pollock.
I painted in a little barn across the street from
with a little dog.
With a little dog, and I won a Pollock Krasner award when I was painting in this little barn across the street. But Joyce, you're so apt, because I have a belief in the nature of gesture, the nature of the breath and the body, that we don't paint with a tight wrist and a tight hand. We paint with our arm, we use the breath, we move, we use the whole body. And I have a feeling about mistakes, that every mistake, which we call oops, every mistake is an opportunity for a creation. And so we retain original gestures that may have been mistakes. So Ani, can you speak up now? This is Yerevan to know wisdom. So I'm hoping Ani can hear me and unmute.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Oh,
So,
Excuse
I don't
me,
know
where are you speaking from, please?
I'm in Sofia, Bulgaria now.
Okay, go ahead, thank you.
Well, a big part of this, we worked in the beginning on the idea of what the painting has to symbolize, and every single symbol on this painting has its meaning, starting from the Armenian letters on the left side. This is the alphabet created by Mesrop Mashtots, and in the middle of it you can see in English the first sentence that was spelled by the creator of the alphabet. We have the symbols of each old capital of Armenia, and I have to say that while we were working on this, I have never felt like I never felt more connected to my own culture. So this was something incredible that Ellen did to each one of us, I think. She brought us this feeling of peace, which is the name of the project actually, and the whole process is engaging all the people and every single person in the team in the creation of this painting, which is the most incredible thing about this project, I think.
and you're so beautiful. I love seeing you. So Ani, will you say the sentence in Armenian so they can all hear how the Armenian language sounds?
Sure. Ճանաչել զիմաստություն եւ զբան.
So every
Which
Armenian,
is this sentence: to know wisdom and guidance to provide the words of insight.
That's beautiful.
and so right, that, thank you so much.
That is beautiful, thank you so much, and that was very moving
Thank
to
you.
hear how this artwork, this experience made Ani more connected to your own culture and that peace within. That's beautiful. Ani,
Thank you.
can I chime in for a second? This is Joyce. So how are you doing now? And are you working on anything creative now, or can you bring us up to date for yourself?
Yes, sure. So I'm studying architecture. When we were working on this project, it was 2015, and it was the 100 years of commemoration of Armenian genocide. But that's not the important part. I just graduated from high school then, and now I'm studying architecture, and I'm working on creating an NGO which will work with cultural programs to bring the youth and people of different countries together to work on projects, and most important, to learn about other cultures. So this is what I'm in the middle of currently.
That's incredibly beautiful, and I see a really beautiful theme of collaboration in this meeting. A lot of times with modern art, we think about an artist working alone, like Jackson Pollock in the studio alone, you know, but a lot of art is done in collaboration as well. And of course, to hear each other's ideas in and of itself is a form of collaboration. Ellen, do you want to wrap up? We're going to go to the next speaker. Would you like to have closing words?
No, I'd like to have 2 more minutes, please, because
Sure.
Rev Gregorian is on the call. She is a wonderful Armenian artist. like Ani, Arev is, if we can go back a moment to the Pristina painting, one more back, there. Arev came to Kosovo, came from Armenia to Kosovo to work with all the artists and students from Kosovo while she was in Kosovo. So Arev, please speak a little about this work and your experience and what you're doing now.
Hello, everyone. I don't know where to start because the experience was really unique and made a lot of difference for me because before going to Kosovo, before starting this project together with Ellen, I only had some impression about Kosovo, about the war and the situation there, just slightly from the media, anything you hear. But getting to know the people, the problems they face daily, the situation they live in, made a lot of impact. And you realize that the media makes the image of the country, of people, and everyone believes in it. And then you go and meet them and change your opinion about them. I know this is about people, not the art, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think back about the project and the time I spent in Kosovo. I actually didn't have time to make up a text or a speech about the project because I was really busy with the baby.
Oh, are we going to see the baby?
No, I finally was able to put him to sleep, so we hope he's there sleeping. But I would gladly answer questions if, that would help me to make up my mind.
Well, so, Arev, do you want to just say a moment about the symbolism and the meaning of gold leaf and teaching everyone about gold?
I think the experience we had here in Yerevan and with the same technique, I mean, it was gold leafing and working with materials connected with earth and nature. I mean, the clays, different shades of clay. There, even though the materials were similar, but the experience was very different. Because in Kosovo, we were working with lines, with twisted lines, a lot of them, a whole mass of lines, and it had a special meaning for us back then when we were starting. No, Ellen, do you agree with me with them?
I agree. And
because that intertwining was what we were facing every day. There we were facing stories from different sides, and it was all stories of people, stories of country, and not really clear what was the real thread between all the mess of other threads. And when we came to having this idea, I suppose while working on it, it helped us to realize what was going on, at least some part of it, or catching some of the threads that was so unclear for us.
So inspired by filigree, the tiniest, it's a whole painting made of teeny tiny marks. And at the end, we had everybody from an Ashkali Egyptian young woman to the president of Kosovo put marks on the painting. So it is more than 300 people put marks on the work. in addition to the core artists who did it. So Joyce, you'd like me to wrap up because of time?
Every artist here, we could spend at least an hour, and it's fascinating, Ellen. I have learned so much. And thank you to the two young women who came on. And what stood out to me especially was the comment on how when you get to know people, you realize they're not so different. Your perception completely changes. And I just thought that was so beautiful, and it's so beautifully illustrated in your collaborative project. So thank you so much. So next up, I'm going to introduce as a photographer, Kathryn Jones. And Kathy travels the world taking photos. She doesn't usually show her photographs. So this, you might say, is her debut. And I encourage Kathryn to show her photos because not only is she an amazing photographer, but she has stories about, whoops, oh no, wait a minute. She has stories about people all over the world. And Kathy, go ahead.
Thank you, Joyce. I really appreciate the opportunity to show a few of my photos. Photography is a real joy for me, and particularly because I love to take photographs when traveling, and it gives you a great opportunity for portraying people, and often these opportunities come up completely unexpectedly. The first two photographs I took in when visiting the narrow alleyways and walking through the narrow alleyways of medieval Cairo. And the first one is a man who had just finished making this gorgeous box by marquetry in a tiny little workshop just on the edge of the alleyway using the most basic tools. He made an absolute work of art using the simplest basic tools, but incredible artistry, I think. The second one is also, you can see the narrow alleyway behind him, which is what medieval Cairo is. It's all these narrow alleyways. He is by the side of the alleyway making embroideries, which are Muslim quotations, which would then perhaps hang in a mosque or in people's houses, but they're very specific in Arabic. So then we'll go on to, and as I've been asked, is all focusing on artisans in different parts of the world. This woman is from the Kayan Lawi ethnic group in Myanmar, and the women wear these brass rings around their necks. And in fact, they don't make their necks longer, but they make them weaker because it's harder for them to keep their necks up when they are standing without the rings on. So you can see she's selling the rings, and when I met her and took the photograph, she's making some beautiful, beautiful piece of tapestry on this hand-woven loom, and that was in Myanmar. And this lady, charming, charming lady, was, we met in a hill village in Myanmar when we were trekking through hill villages. And she's of the Akha ethnic group, and the Akhas wear this very traditional headdress. And throughout the villages, you would see people mainly in their national dress. And I put her up because I wanted to put up someone who was a storyteller, an actress. And she was telling us a wonderful story about her water buffalo, which actually had met an untimely end, unfortunately, by falling off a cliff. But anyway, she told us the story very animatedly. She was wonderful. And this one is a mixture, I think, of music and comedy. And it's musicians who were serenading us when we were in a cafe in San Miguel de Allende in Mexico, which of course is the fun side of that wall. And finally, this is a photograph of artisans who were throwing water, yellow dyed water, it's dyed with saffron, and they're throwing it in arcs onto the Buddhanath stupa, which is a Tibetan Buddhist stupa in Kathmandu. And they go all the way around it doing these arcs, which represent the double lotus in Buddhism. And it's a particularly beautiful, beautiful stupa in Kathmandu.
Kathy, thank you so much. That was incredible. And the way you take photos of people, I see an incredible intimacy in it. And I think that's remarkable, the way the subject, so to speak, is relating to you. I see really a high level of trust in that. So what we'll do, and I hear someone has beautiful birds outside, that sounds great. I would like to show you some of my creativity, because often people ask me, well, what do you do? You know, I'm the education coordinator at the Pollock House, but I wear many hats, so to speak. So I would like to share with you my passion for the arts in creating unity and diversity, which is what today is all about. So I wrote a series of books about modern art. And like this program, all of these books, they're all interactive. And they're designed to spark the reader or the participant's own creativity in his or her own way. And I founded a company based on these books called Imagine That Art Education. So one of the artists in my book, Express Yourself, is Jackson Pollock. And as you could see, instead of imparting a lot of information, the approach is to ask questions so that the viewer shares his or her own interpretation about what the work of art is about. And then following up with hands-on projects where we're not copying Pollock, we're utilizing the artist's ideas to spark our own authentic creativity. These books were written for children. And just coincidentally, I moved down the street after writing the book. I moved down the street from the Pollock Krasner house, and I started the education program here for children. So we have many people on the property dripping paint. We have outreach programs working with every audience, from schools, libraries, special groups, elderly, autism, people with dementia. Any group we visit. And of course, we've translated those programs now to Zoom. And in addition to the fine artwork that I teach and focus on, and I'm also a painter, I started doing murals because I saw a need as I would visit schools. I noticed that a lot of the walls look like this. And they were trying to teach children about character education by posting these words on the wall. So I thought, well, how would a 5-year-old, first off, how would a 5-year-old know what empathy means? And would that really grab their attention? So working with students of all ages, 5 to grade 12, we design murals and then we collaborate to illustrate the character words in a way that children can understand. So this is just one example of many. And working with community, some of the projects we've worked on, we have as many as 100 students from ages 5 to 12 working on one mural. And each mural is tailored to the needs of that particular site. So this one, for example, brings together 3 cultures, Hispanic, US, New York, and Haiti. That was in this particular community. They wanted to create a mural that would show diversity and unity, and then the teenagers worked on painting this together. So when I started out, honestly, I thought that art was about being alone in a studio and showing my own personal feelings and that sort of thing, telling my own story. And as I've evolved, I realized that art can really be about bringing people together. And in sharing ideas, respecting each other's creativity, we can have unity while also maintaining diversity. And that's what I think this program today, to me, is beautifully illustrating. So I'm going to turn this over to Kathy, who will spontaneously call on people who would like to share. Now, because we do have a lot of people, this is what I'd like to suggest. If you go to your chat there's a little button that says more. And you can press that button, and then it will give you the opportunity to raise your hand. So is there someone out there, maybe from overseas, we'll start with that, people who are not in the US, is it, or you could just unmute and chime in. Is there anyone who has an idea, a thought you would like to share? And Kathy will lead that discussion. And don't be shy, otherwise we're gonna call on you. I'm just kidding.
Yes, anything you'd like to share about your creativity, perhaps at this time of our being stuck at home, or anything that you'd like to share?
Joyce, Joyce, I came in a little late.
Yes.
Are you hearing?
Share, would you like to put your video on?
Oh, yes, indeed. Let's see. Yeah. Hi. I think what you're distinguishing, first of all, I love the project that you're doing there with the, you know, children, the whole thing. The way I'm distinguishing is that is a creative effort. And what's very important to distinguish is that art is often spelled with a capital A. And I think what you're focusing on is on the creative impulse. And that's a terrific way to get students started. And I just think that that's a distinction. When you think of the lone artist in the studio, often that is about, you know, people who are doing the long haul and might have a whole bevy of formal concerns. So I think that there's a lot to creativity. And I think that that impulse is the start that leads to a very creative practice that the mature artists will continue.
And where are you located?
I'm in the West Village.
Thank you. Anybody else? Ways of using creativity? It could be creative thinking. Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'd like, first off, I want to say thank you, Kathryn. This was wonderful. Thank you for including Prayer Group.
Yeah,
You can't hear me. Now you can hear me. Sorry, I always forget.
That's great. Great to see you.
Sorry. Yes. First off, Kathryn, thank you for this. This was wonderful. Thank you for inviting Perea Groove. I know we have a good presentation here. A lot of people showed up. Joyce, that was wonderful. I've always been curious to see this, and that was really great. And your work is wonderful with the kids. And Ellen Frank, I want to talk to you after this. I know about a peace project I think might be interesting, and that's just fantastic. Everybody, it was great. Yeah, I find this, I've started baking, and you know, that's my great, and I have never baked in my life. And in the last 2 months, I have baked like so many different things. I have a couple starters going. I just keep trying and cooking and all this. And it is creative. It's fun. Like I have other creative endeavors like writing and acting. And I thought I'd work on a monologue or a one woman something. Or I started a blog about Perea Groove just to claim a website. Perea Groove is a chat and cultural endeavor I launched on Facebook to combat the pandemic isolation, especially for a lot of us who are extroverts. So many of you are participating on our regular chats to stay sane. And I'm trying anybody, Sylvie, if you're still on, if you want to perform for us, please let me know. I'd love to have some concerts and such. We're trying to do some arty events. We've had readings, we've had poetry readings, book readings. So this has been interesting. That's been a creative endeavor of mine to try to moderate an event space. But this is great. And and then something Joyce said that really struck me, and I feel so strongly is true, that this is going to launch a movement in art. We are living through a very formative, important crux in so many ways in cultural society and in art. I have been lucky to watch some amazing online concerts and play readings with some great actors and some lesser actor, but it's been fantastic. And I think this format is going to add to art. And I think Joyce is right. We don't know how it's going to manifest, but even in just 2 months, and it's only been 2 months, it's amazing what art has done. So yeah, so that's wonderful. So thank you, Joyce, and thank you all. This was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beth Ann. And Beth Ann's initiative to put together Perea Groove has been so great, bringing us together to chat in groups and have Zoom parties, and also to do some learning online, where we've learned from about a certain about German expressionism to how to make a better margarita. It's all very really good, really good.
I'd like to talk.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Fran Beeler, and I'm zooming in from New York City. First of all, this was a wonderful presentation. You know, I actually was on the tour yesterday with Joyce, and it was great seeing it all over again, but in this enriched environment with all these other artists from around the world. It's been such a joy to see all this creativity and what's going on. For myself, in addition to being an artist, I am a teacher, and most of my teaching is one-on-one, which I love to do, and I'm learning to do it on Zoom, which has been challenging, as some of you probably already know. I'm also very involved with a group called the New York Artists Circle. It's a group of artists mostly in the New York City area, and quite a few of us are on this Zoom right now because we put out the word that it was happening. We've just put out a new website. I'm gonna put that in the chat. I've also been doing my own project this year, so I am working on a series of self-portraits, a self-portrait a day. When I undertook to do that this year, I had no idea what kind of year it would be. So all kinds of interesting things have emerged, myself in many variations of masks, which I showed some of those to Joyce in the group yesterday. But today I was thinking about this. Joyce, you really made me think about it. I was thinking about, you know, okay, so I'm a realist, and what is my relationship to Pollock? And it made me think about a series within my self-portraits. So I'm just going to show a couple of them, because in these self-portraits, what you see is not really me, but you see my shadow on the land. And you talked a lot about Pollock using his body, and it was like the imprint of him on the floor and in his paintings and all the abstract expressionists, and also the woman, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the Italian artist who did the dancing paintings, which blew my mind. But in a way, it's thinking about not, you know, looking at me exactly, but more like what mark I leave. And it made me think also about what kind of mark do we human beings leave on this planet, you know. If it's just a shadow, that's great, but unfortunately we've left more of a mark than that. And now I think this time is making us all feel that we have to think a lot about the mark we make on the world. So I was thinking about that in terms of Pollock. I did this one at a certain point in the beginning of the year when I was thinking about things kind of going crazy and falling all over the place. And I started turning it into a painting. And the reason I want to show this is because we were talking about children and playfulness and joy. And I think there's also a desire to go in that direction. You know, we don't want everything to be too heavy and serious. And that was one of the things about the beautiful Ellen Frank's beautiful gold leaf paintings, that they were full of joy and peace and light. So
thank you so much. Lovely.
Thank you.
Very, very nice. Thank you so much. Oh, those paintings are beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else who would like to share?
Could I say something?
Absolutely.
Well, you know, we ever since this whole thing started, you know, a lot of us have been, well, ones with kids have had to do a little homeschooling, well, a lot of homeschooling. And I've been very thankful for these authors and these artists, these illustrators. They'll do story time, but then they'll also let the children draw, and they'll do their own drawings in the background to show them the movement, the strokes, how to use a canvas, what kind of paints. Afterwards, how to sketch, just different things. And like Mo Williams started it off, that we got familiar with. And he stepped away, and I think other artists have continued. One of my favorites has been Pete the Cat artist, James Dean. He is so awesome, so kind. He'll take letters, he'll take time to talk. He'll tell you where the kids are writing from, so you learn a little geography. It's been really nice, the art that has come about, and how I've had to really dig to find, because this, like I was saying, I'm not artistic myself, my husband is, and I think our offspring is. So we try to get her involved, and I like how much more art at this time that she is receiving. In fact, she just ran off to do some painting because she got inspired by all this. So it's been fun times from that perspective.
No, that's great. And she looks like she's got a fabulously creative studio there. It's a great background.
No, she loves her imagination, her pretend. She loves it. Playmobil all the way.
It's beautiful. No, it's going to see what a kind of revolution of art being taught through Zoom and online will come out of this crisis, I think.
Yeah, feel free to send me, anybody. I put in my email there, olivegirl@gmail, if you know of anything for kids. Yeah, I want to keep her busy this summer. I don't want to go to indoor studios. If I find any camps that are outdoor, I'll definitely, do that. But just, I would love to, keep her going over the summer.
Hey, on that note, we do have, from the Pollock House, we have Zoom tours geared to children, where we demonstrate drip painting, and we demonstrate collage, and we discuss how you show your feelings. And I'm also doing many Zoom classes, so I will send you the update. I already sent you the info.
Thank you.
I love your background. It's awesome.
Great.
It's so much fun. I want to move in with you. I love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's where all our money goes.
No, that's great. Anybody else? I don't want to pick on people, but sorry, go ahead.
Hello, can I talk? Carol Eisner.
Carol, everyone, can I chime in? When you introduce yourself, if you don't mind, can you tell us where you're speaking from?
I'm speaking from Weston, Connecticut. I'm a sculptor, I'm a welder, and a painter. And I want to thank Fabiana for that wonderful presentation. I wish it were longer. I would love to see more of the dance and the painting go across the screen, and with more music, and see how the whole thing came together. It was very exciting. And I think that it's a possibility that kids would love to do that and enjoy that kind of event with as somebody coordinating them to do that. It might be a wonderful activity to bring it out for an educational project, and besides an entertaining and evening to see this unfold on the stage in real time. Okay, thank you, and you did a great job.
Thank you, Carol. And I've actually seen some of your sculpture at Joe and Fabiana's garden, and they are fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you very much. Anybody else would like to share?
Hello. Can
Kathy,
you hear me? Oops.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Can I talk?
Yeah.
All right. Hello, my name is Francesco De Rubeis, and I'm calling from Rome, Italy. And thanks for sharing this. It's such a nice happening to see all the spontaneous art coming from a real need. That's so beautiful. I want to say especially thanks to Fabiana, who introduced me to this event. And I have something in common with Fabiana because I'm a faculty member at the National Dance Academy in Italy, where she worked in the past, and I'm a musician there. I play music, I teach music at the National Dance Academy, and there's so much in common with what Fabiana said about research in movement and sounds and how to connect all those art forms in one thing, doing the effort to find one common language. And since the pandemic problem happened, now it's more than 3 months here in Italy, I had to figure out a setup of electronic instruments. You might be able to see something here, because of course we did not stop the work at the National Dance Academy, so we work from remote, from home. So musicians also, we have to provide music and keep researching. And so I think that it's really interesting in a moment, in a time where we have so many restrictions to do the effort to be creative and trying to do the best out of the situation, you know, trying to expand creativity and inventing whatever techniques and I did a set of sounds that you might be able to hear.
Yeah, can we, Francesco, could you play like a short little sample for us?
Yeah, sure.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. I want to say that during this time, I started a collaboration with a group of musicians and artists here in Italy with a project called Blind Jam. We tried to improvise out of sometimes out of a topic, sometimes out of a color, sometimes out of a movement or a chord progression or whatever. Very often out of nothing, just improvising for a certain limited time and blind, not knowing what other musicians are playing, and then putting the things together. And we realize how the power of improvisation when you are open to and just when you are in the moment. And it's unbelievable how we put things together, and we were surprised on how many interesting musical results we got. And that's something that we came out of the situation. And I can see that Francesca Pirami, who's one of the artists involved in this, she's here, and and I would like to pass the ball. But before, let me say hi to Silvia Manco. She's a great friend of mine, and she performed before, and we had a chance to play together so much music, and we live in the same city in Rome. And I really hope, Silvia, to see you soon and keep playing together for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Francesca, that's absolutely wonderful. Can I just ask you, I know that Italy is starting to reopen now.
Yeah.
What are the prospects now for you being able to get back to play with your fellow musicians?
Okay, we are in the middle of what we call phase number 2, which is something that naturally leads to phase number 3, which is back to normal. So we are trying to reopen, like with concerts in theaters, keeping, of course, distances. This is not going to be easy, of course, for small jazz clubs, let's say, or places where it's really, really difficult to maintain 2-3 meters of distance between tables. But we will see. I think it's too soon to say something. We have to see how the situation goes in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And if the numbers, they go down drastically, which actually looks like it's going down, at least here in Italy, then we might be able to take some more risks and go back to festivals and theaters and concerts and even small gigs in small venues. So far, I have one concert confirmed in Rotterdam in Holland. That's at the end of July, and they're gonna do that, keeping something like 5 meters between one table and another. So, but for now in Italy, all the gigs and festivals that I had planned are completely canceled. So at the moment, I keep working for the National Dance Academy, of course, but for the rest, we don't know yet.
Right. Well, let's very much keep hoping that it all keeps going in the right direction. We're celebrating. Most of us who've been talking are in East Hampton, have been showing art, are in East Hampton on Long Island, and we reopened into phase 1, of which we have 4 phases today. So we're all very excited that it actually was today that we had that reopening, and hopefully again that will keep moving forward. And perhaps if your friend or colleague who you just mentioned is still on the line, perhaps you would. I'd love to hear something from Italy.
Francesca, I see her.
Hello, ciao. Here
Ciao.
I am. I'm Francesca.
Great. Hi.
Hi. Yes, I can speak a little bit about the blind jam that we used to do. It's like an exercise that we did to connect ourselves, just connecting the feeling that we had in the moment we started the improvisation. And so we started to connect with ourselves and with the person we knew. Our improvisation will be met with. So the strange thing in this experience is to trust the moment where you are in the silence. You know that in the moment you are in the silence, someone will make a sound, will make a movement. And so it's not the same way to feel the silence. Okay, it's not just your silence. It's something deep. It's something more alive. And so we started with these improvisations. We have about 20, 30 jams, videos, and maybe the best thing is to show one of these videos if you want. And maybe the first one that we did, and it's with Francesco, me and Francesco. The rule is that the first improvisation is okay, so you connect yourself and you go for 2 minutes, and then we see what is the, diciamo, what comes out. Okay, so if you want, I can show you one.
That would be wonderful.
Okay.
Are you listening?
Okay. This is with Alessandro, with a bass player.
Are you listening to me? I'm hiding. Listen my voice. Hiding. Are you listening to me? Reach my voice. Reach my voice. Reach my voice. Are you listening to me? Reach my voice. Reach my voice. I'm listening to me. I'm hiding. Hiding. Hiding, 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 ding, hiding, ding, ding, hiding, 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 ding, hiding, ding, hiding, ding, 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 I'm hiding. Are you listening to me? I'm hiding. Are you listening to me? I'm hiding. I'm hiding. I'm hiding. I'm hiding. Ding, ding, ding.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, thank you.
Thanks, Francesca. That was beautiful.
I feel like I'm going out, like I'm at this concert, museum. I feel this is amazing. That was so good.
Thank you. We are thinking about preparing a live with two sets, with two boxes, where artists or people can express themselves in 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and then we mix the two experiences, and we can see what happens when we mix the two experiences. That could be very, very interesting, and it would be interesting to use painting or dancing, music, voice, and every possibility. For the moment, it's possible to make performances in Italy.
Okay. Thank you, Francesca. That was great and lovely, lovely to actually hear your music. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks.
So I think we're approaching 3 o'clock, so we're going to have to wrap up soon. Kathy, would you mind if I could call on someone?
Please, yeah.
Because I see here, if you don't mind, I see Anna here. Anna was originally from Mexico. She moved to East Hampton and she worked at the Pollock House with me. And Anna, would you like to say a few words about your interest in teaching and your creativity and how it's transformed? If not, that's fine, but I would love to hear from you because I haven't seen you.
Yes, hi Joyce.
Oh, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. This has been great. Thank you so much for inviting me. So I think I became very interested in teaching when, as you said, I realized I was happier not only doing my own studio work like at the studio, but sharing and like building community. So I think that's where like my interest in teaching comes from. And coming from Mexico, I also worked with an indigenous community, and we built a mural. And I think that was the first time that, you know, it really sparked my interest. And then working with you further at the Imagine That art programs over the summer, it was fantastic. So yeah, I'm gonna pursue my teaching certificate so I can develop that further. And regarding like the question you asked about studio practice in this time of the virus, I was thinking that for me personally, I haven't been particularly inspired. I have been, you know, like a little unmotivated to work on my own studio work. So what I did is pick something more like repetitive. So I'm a textile artist. I work with textiles. So instead of thinking a lot about concept and what I want to talk about in like my studio work going further, I said I'm going to weave. So I've been weaving a lot in my loom these days, and that's what's keeping me creative. But I guess when you're not feeling too creative, so to speak, picking something more like repetitive, like a lot of textile techniques are very yeah, like slow, labor intensive, repetitive. So yeah, that's something I enjoy.
I relate with that, Anna. I sometimes sew like art, and it's just very, very repetitive, and I find it to be almost like a meditation and a very calming. People look at it and they say, oh, like you have so much patience, but I actually feel like it's very calming. It slows me down in a really positive way.
Exactly, yeah. Right now I'm not into so much in the mood of experience with materials and like doing a ton of experiments and like seeing what works and what's not, because it's not like my energy is focused on something else right now. But that's where some techniques are really interesting in that sense, like repetition and like repetition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. It's so nice to see you.
So nice to see you.
Joyce, if I could say one more thing, and I would like to invite, I see Barbara Dietrich. Hello, Barbara.
Hello, Fabiana.
And I would like Barbara to introduce herself because she has amazing, actually, Kathryn, you and Barbara have few things in common. And I would like Barbara to introduce herself because she has a big connection through the arts worldwide.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for Carol Eisner that she invited me. And thank you, Fabiana. I am very happy that I'm today with you and these wonderful ladies and gentlemen. I'm owner from Diplomatic Word magazine, and this was in the past Diplomatic, but I bought this for 3 years and I changed this in Culture Diplomacy magazine. And with Corona, as world change. We have the time for Corona and we have the time after Corona. And for me, cultural diplomacy must change in humanitarian diplomacy through culture. And this alone culture can change the world and save the world. And we must change as thinking. We must go in another direction. And this is alone the way that we can heal the world, and this is very, very important. And for me is I was so much travel, I was in all the world, but from one moment to another, what was nothing. And you stay home and you beginning to thinking, and what we love is the beauty. What we love is as family, and we must rethink as value, and culture is the way to help the world and help. And culture is dance, culture is singing, art, all this, and be together. In this moment, we coming from all the parts from the world, and we are together, and this is very, very wonderful. And for me, I'm very happy that I'm here, and thank you so much, Fabiana. And maybe if we can back travel, I want coming to you, and we must act together. We must, from this moment, we need another movement, and humanitarian culture movement. This is what we need. We must look into the people, what needs the soul from the people. And we are all beautiful. We have so much to give, and the future is share. It's very, very important that we share what we have. And as culture, as humanitarian thinking, and this is a message. We need this. This is what we need, and we must acting in this direction. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much, Fabiana.
Thank you.
I love you.
Joyce,
Thank you.
I want to thank you, Joyce, for putting, you and your collaborators to put this together. I'm Lois Bender, and I want to thank you and the Jackson Pollock House for doing such a great job on this very direct intimacy amongst all the peoples who participated today. Thanks, Joyce.
By the way, Lois is in her apartment with her beautiful watercolor paintings back there. Oh, and there's Joe. Let's hear from Joe.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe.
This was wonderful, and thank you, Kathryn and Joyce, for hosting this. And I think the common theme is, definitely there needs to be much more crossover, not only in the arts, which is what has always excited me about what Fabiana is doing. That's something I aspire to do as an architect. What Barbara is doing with, the political structure, and Kathryn, you as well. We need to kind of combat the atomization and, I think the ultra specialization of our society, and, make more linkages. I know that's a theme that I always pursue as an architect. Mine, I guess, is linkage to the environment and respect for that. This is a very important, and I think all of you come to it with through a specific direction, and it's great. It's very inspiring.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Joyce and Kathy, I have a question. It's Ellen. Will you, those of us who want to stay in touch with each other, will there be a way to find out how to reach each other?
Yes, I am going to first email everyone in a blind email for privacy, your contact information and all of the other speakers who are on the lineup. And then I will ask people if they want to share their email. I will put together a list that people can share, like a networking list. So it might take me a while to put together that list because people email in at different times, but initially I'll follow up with an email of all the speakers who are on the lineup, like Ellen and Fabiana and myself, and if Kathy, I don't know, whoever wants to share on that, okay?
Yeah. Right.
So very good. Now, it looks like people want to continue. Is there somebody else who would like to share?
Is Clarissa still there, I wonder? In Italy, whether she might just like to share a little about how it is where she is in Italy.
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, so thank you for inviting me. It was lovely. I enjoyed it very much. Today was the first day that I went out after 3 months of full isolation.
Wow.
Which basically can drive someone insane, but I was able to resist by doing a lot of artistic stuff that I actually took it as an opportunity to focus on music, which I haven't, you know, for the last few years because I was doing something else. And also I'm painting. I'm basically almost painting the whole house where I am. So it's full of paintings everywhere. And I think, you know, I think that creativity is to think the otherwise, you know, when there's a creativity, like the creative brain is when you think the otherwise, you think out of the box. And I think that this is what an artist normally does, but we all have that capacity. And I think that, you know, the coronavirus and the whole isolation being a great challenge, we have to think the otherwise, you know, we have to think out of the box and break the rules and break the standards that we have. So it's actually a potentially very creative moment that we are living in. And so I was able to do a lot of things that I wasn't expecting to do. And I'm grateful for that. So, and I had also amazing collaborations and amazing connections with people from around the world, with people that I used to know and I got in touch with. So I'm actually really happy about how I was able, you know, to overcome. And I think a lot of people are on the same page.
Thanks, Carissa. That's wonderful. In fact, I saw quite a few of your posts on Facebook with the guitar, so I knew that you were doing music. So it was just that's wonderful and fantastic that you're getting today.
Yeah.
This too is our first day of, and not that we haven't been out, but it's our first day of an official reopening day. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you all keep safe and let's keep connected. Let's keep in touch. Let's keep creative.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Okay, I think it's time to wrap up, and I hope this perhaps might be the first of many to come. So, Kathy, would you like to say some closing words, and then I'll say some closing words?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone who took part and came to this event today. I thought it was a wonderful, wonderful sharing for us all across the world. And it's quite inspiring to hear what people are doing while being locked down and having to stay at home. And thanks so much. I hope that we could do one again. And I really enjoyed what Ellen and others were saying about the need for the use of cultural diplomacy, having worked with the UN for a long time. That whole thing about using culture and art, which is what we were trying to do today, to bring people together. And I think after this crisis, the gaps in society that have developed, particularly in recent years, will get bigger and bigger. And it's the use of culture and art to help bring people together and mend those gaps as well will be very important. But thank you so much for coming. It's been a wonderful, wonderful event. Thanks.
Thank you to everyone. What amazing music, amazing art, wonderful. So it's just a joy to see everybody's creations.
And I would like to close by saying, of course, thank you to the Pollock Krasner House and Study Center and Helen Harrison, the director, who immediately got on board with this project. And of course, Kathryn Jones for jumping in and co-hosting and sharing her photos. Ellen Frank, amazing, I learned so much. Fabiana and SignofSound, so enjoyable. And Kathryn for sharing her photos. And of course, all of the other artists as well, Silva, and there's too many to name, but each one, I know we all enjoyed so much that you put yourself out here today on the spot spontaneously, which was remarkable. And wherever you are, have a wonderful evening, a wonderful afternoon. And of course, we are fortunate to have this forum for creativity. And we also have concern for people who aren't as fortunate, who perhaps are suffering with the disease or having deep, deep suffering economically. And we are not, by celebrating creativity, we're not in any way undermining that, you know, or belittling the challenges that people are facing. But my hope is to find, you know, to inspire hope during this difficult time and inspire optimism. So that's where we're coming from with this program. So it is time to end. Have a beautiful day. And again, thank you everybody, and nice meeting new people. And we welcome feedback as well.